So the first one, being able to add new orders and edit them from the passenger profile. We also created a no-show status for driver shifts. You are now able to both create a full passenger profile and edit a full passenger profile with all of the different data points right from that screen. Welcome to the 2024 review series for Inside the Lamp. My name is John Anthon, co-CEO here at RouteGenie. In this video, we're going to be talking about some of the enhancements we made to the operational side of RouteGenie, dispatching, the pre-assign, reservation screen, some of those things, the things you use day to day, the things that really nuts and bolts, right? The stuff that you use that makes your business special. Obviously, that's a very important piece of RouteGenie, something we spend a lot of time on, you spend a lot of time on, and we take a lot of feedback from you on. So we wanted to make enhancements to that, and we will continue to do that. Let's dive into the details here for what we did for 2024. All right, let's dive into some of the new features for 2024 that will really impact your day-to-day operations, things on the dispatch screen, reservations, pre-assign, passenger profiles, driver shifts, things of that nature. Some really big enhancements this year that are really going to affect how you're using them day to day. And we're going to do some demonstrations of these and show you exactly how these things work as I talk about them. So the first one, being able to add new orders and edit them from the passenger profile. This is one we know that folks have wanted for a while, so we got that out this year where instead of going to a passenger profile to find somebody and get information about them and then having to go separately to an add order screen, right now you have the add order button right on the passenger profile. So you can go ahead and add that order right from there. And when you're viewing their orders, you'll be able to edit orders directly from that passenger profile too. So from a workflow perspective, instead of having to go to a trip screen and find a person, you can actually now go to the passenger profile, find that person, and then find the trips associated with that person right from that passenger profile. So it opens up some doors for a little bit different workflows for you. Second really big one for folks, just in case you have situations where things go down, or if you want to have a backup, or some people just like paper still for whatever reason, you can create a printable route sheet from the pre-assign. So from your pre-assign screen, you can open up a PDF that prints out essentially a route manifest for each driver that you can hand to them so they have that paper backup in addition to the driver app. Should there be a mobile outage, they drop their phone, whatever it might be, a nice little backup, and you don't have to create a report. I know a lot of folks who create reports and send them out and things like that. This allows you to just quickly, one click, get everything printed, hand to the drivers, and be on with your day. We also created a no-show status for driver shifts. So the way this works is if a driver doesn't come to work one day for whatever reason, we can mark that shift as a no-show status. So that way you're able to generate reporting, see which drivers are not coming in, or either no call, no showing, or same day canceling on you for their shifts, so that you can better manage your driver fleet and have better expectations as to who's coming to work when they're supposed to be and who isn't. So that's a big feature for managing your fleet and going to help your fleet managers out quite a bit with managing the drivers and having real data to back that up versus just kind of guessing and going based on your feeling. Editing and creating passenger profiles right from the add order screen. So you always used to be able to kind of create a new passenger profile, but it was very limited what information you could put there. And again, same thing with editing. You could edit it, but there was very limited information you were allowed to edit. You are now able to both create a full passenger profile and edit a full passenger profile with all of the different data points right from that screen. So you don't ever have to leave the add order screen. If you have someone new coming in, or if you need to make changes to a passenger, if you prefer that the other workflow from what we talked about before, where you're working from the order side, you can still make edits to the passenger from that add order screen. In addition to that, on the add order screen, we also have recent trip history now. So we can see everything that passenger's done. Another reason, again, if you want to work from that add order screen, instead of having to go to the passenger's profile, look at other trips they've scheduled, now you can do that all right from the add order screen, see what trips they've taken in the past. If they say, hey, I'm going to that doctor on Main Street again, instead of having to try to figure that out, you can look right there, see, oh, it's 123 Main Street, and be able to quickly and easily create that trip for them. Some new filters being added to the reservation, dispatch, etc. screens. Driver groups. So if you are using either subcontractors or driver groups within your organization, you can filter that down and see the trips that are assigned just to those driver groups. Trip purpose. A lot of you use that to track your dialysis trips, etc., maybe methadone trips. If you're using purposes, you can filter the dispatch and reservation screens based on trip purposes. Time. This is a big one. If you want to look at just a period of the day, you're now able to create a date range and see just the trips during that period of the day for an individual day on the dispatch screen or the today's order screen. Or if you go into reservations and you want to see, hey, how booked out are my days from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.? I feel like the drivers aren't that busy for that time. You can actually go and look at a 1 month period and look at only the trips between 2 and 5 p.m. for that period to kind of get a feel for how booked you are or were in the past. And the last one, mileage. This is a really useful one too. Mileage, obviously, some folks like to work differently with their long distance trips, plan around those trips. You might want to look at your very short trips to make sure you can get them grouped together. So you could filter on pre-assign. If you're doing an auto pre-assign, you can do only the long distance trips first, for example. Or on dispatch, if you want to make sure all of your long distance trips are taken care of before you start dispatching other trips, you can filter to show you trips only over a certain mileage, under a certain mileage, or within a certain mileage range. So that way you're looking at just the trips you want to work with, whether again it be from a dispatch perspective, a pre-assigned perspective. You can be strategic around which trips you're distributing to your vehicles first. Let's talk about the dispatch screen. Some big changes on the dispatch screen in addition to some things we kind of mentioned here. Lightning assign. So this is fairly new. So if you missed this announcement, this is something you're going to want to check out. Right now, this is only available on dispatch. It is coming to pre-assign very soon. So watch your release notes for when it comes out on pre-assign as well. But the way Lightning Assign works is you have the check boxes where you can check multiple trips. A lot of folks for a long time have wanted to be able to assign those in bulk to a vehicle. The challenge there is obviously we have to think and build the route in the right order based on the time windows for each trip. So in the past, we haven't done that because it would tie down the system for a little bit. What we did is we created this ability where in the background, that little mini route's going to get created. So if I'm assigning 4 trips to vehicle 1, I click the 4 trips, I'll click on Lightning Assign, and then that will in the background then start to generate a mini route based on the times of the trips. It'll put them in the right order on the route based on the time windows and assign those to that vehicle. Now that vehicle does get locked while that thinking is happening. Depends on the number of trips. If you're doing only 2 or 3, it's very quick. If you're doing 20 of them, it might be a little bit longer for it to figure out the best way to do that and get everything within their time window. So you won't be able to give any other trips to that vehicle. You can't give another trip outside of the ones you've selected to that vehicle until that route has been created. But a really cool way, if you know you're giving a certain set of trips to a vehicle because they're in a certain area, maybe you filter the screen down by zone or to an address even, to be able to give trips to one vehicle. You can just multi-select, choose your vehicle, and off you go if you like to do the manual assignments. Showing orders on the map is another really big new feature on the dispatch screen. Essentially, again, you're using the same checkbox. We're checking those trips, and you can actually have those trips all appear with the pickup and drop-off addresses on the map that displays on the dispatch screen where all the vehicles are. So you can get a visual of maybe how close together trips are in a certain time range. So if you're trying to figure out, hey, can I give these 2 trips to the same vehicle? Some folks like to visually look at it on the map and see what that looks like. So by being able to select them and show them on the map, you can see where everything is, start to make some decisions and decide how you might want to dispatch those rides. Last one for dispatch screen, zone and traffic overlay. So these are 2 new overlays. Again, we're talking about the map on the dispatch screen. When you turn on traffic, that will actually give you a live view to Google's traffic. Like on the Google Maps app, it'll turn green, orange, red based on traffic. Same thing, but that's going to display on your map in RouteGenie. So you can see where some of the worst traffic areas are. So that can help you identify if you might want to have vehicles avoid a certain area. You might want to do that. Or if you have somebody running late, you can communicate with a customer that, hey, it looks like there's some traffic. That's why that vehicle is running a little behind. They'll be there shortly based on your estimate. You can do the same thing with zones. So if you're trying to figure out what zone a trip appears in, with the zone overlay, all the zones appear on the map with their names. So you can see which zone a vehicle might be currently in, which zone a trip is in if you turn on both overlays, et cetera, et cetera. So some really helpful tools for those of you that are kind of working out that dispatch screen, doing your game day dispatching and preparations. Those 2 tools will really help with the 2 overlays. Let's talk about some performance boosts. Obviously, as you add more and more stuff, the system has more and more things going on. We have to also make sure that it's performing effectively. So we spent a lot of the back half of last year doing some performance upgrades, and we did a few more this year to make sure that the system stays strong, stays reliable as we keep adding more and more new features. And this is something we're going to continue to do throughout 2025. We have some more really cool things planned to make sure that the system is strong, stable, and quick. But this year, we did one thing with the dispatch screen that some of you might notice. If you scroll really fast, if you have a lot of trips on your dispatch screen, the grid will be blank for a second. where you scroll and it's blank, and then all of a sudden the information fills in. What we did there is we actually changed the way that the dispatch screen loads trips. It used to load everything that essentially qualified to be on the dispatch screen based on your settings. And if you have a lot of trips, that can be a lot, but you can't view 2,000 trips at once, obviously. You can only view what's on the screen. So we set it up so the system only loads what's on the screen and a little bit more for scrolling. So if you scroll really fast, essentially that split second that you're seeing it blank is the system taking a second to say, okay, I got to load these trips now. And adding those on, but that makes the dispatch screen a heck of a lot faster and a heck of a lot more reliable and stable. So big time upgrade there. We also upgraded to a new version of our WebSockets. So WebSockets, I don't want to get too nerdy, but WebSockets are the tool that helps live communication. So anytime we're doing live ETAs, live status updates from the web app, those are all things that are happening on WebSockets. If we're getting things from the mobile app is one of the biggest things we're getting, right? Live location updates, status updates, things of that nature. Those are all managed by those WebSockets. We upgraded to a new version to help those be a little bit quicker and more stable. We did a couple more kind of smaller little things in the back end that you might not see that really help perform, or help the system perform, I should say. Optimizing geocoding speed. We put some optimizations in that'll help the system identify addresses and geocode them with Google a little bit faster. So that helps with really all aspects of the system. Anytime you see an address, anytime an address is typed in, anytime you see something on a map, those things are all geocoded. So by optimizing that, we really helped the performance of almost all the screens and speeding them up. And then last thing, reducing recalculation requests. So again, don't want to get too nerdy with this, but this is essentially reducing the number of times we're checking on something or checking back at something that doesn't need to be checked. Things like if checking ETAs, but if no parameters have changed, there's no reason to recalculate an ETA. So looking at some of those recalculations and reducing the number of requests that we're doing. By reducing the number of requests and eliminating things that we know don't need to be recalculated, fewer requests means better performance. So tons of stuff going into the software from a performance perspective, and that'll affect your day-to-day operations this year. And this is just a fraction of what we mentioned. So if you like some of the stuff you've heard here, again, make sure you like our page, hit the follow button, hit that bell so you're subscribing to our videos so you can see all the other cool new things that we're going to release later this year. That's your recap of the operational enhancements we made for RouteGenie 2024. And there was a whole lot more that we couldn't fit in here. And we're doing some big things. Watch for some major enhancements to pre-assign, the dispatching screen, and more in 2025. Make sure you check those 2025 preview videos out for some really cool stuff. And make sure you check out the other 2024 review videos. We talk a lot about broker integrations, our new RouteGenie broker integrations, the templates and report enhancements that we made, the driver app enhancements that we made. A lot of cool stuff that we did in 2024 that you'll want to check out in addition to these enhancements that we made to the operations side of RouteGenie. Also, make sure you like this video. Make sure you follow, subscribe to us, comment below if there's other things that you want to see us do in 2025 so we can take those into account as we make more enhancements to RouteGenie, just like we do every day. You're the most important part of RouteGenie, so we want to make sure we get your feedback too. Check out those other videos, and we will see you soon. Go. Frozen. Oh, I forgot how I was kicking out the videos. Check out those other videos, and we will see you soon.